Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. I am your host, Jasmine Neely, and today we will have another episode of the TopCats Era series celebrating 30 years of the TopCats. So, my guests today are Tiffany Pittman and Macey Butler. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
This
being
is
here.
exciting stuff.
Yes, it is.
30 years. That's crazy. I'm
30.
mind blown.
Yes, same.
Old.
So, I want to start with giving our audience some background about who you are, when you danced as a top cat, and any notable experiences or roles that you had while you were a top cat that you want to share. And then also just tell us what you've been up to since retiring from the top cats. Tiffany, how about we start with you?
Yeah, I'll start. I'm Tiffany Pittman, and I like to consider myself a Charlotte local. So, I grew up in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is about 20 miles south of Charlotte. And I remember the day that the announcement started coming out that we were getting a professional NFL team in Charlotte. And I remember being a little girl going to a high school football game, and the Top Cats actually came. I think there were only like three of them just to kind of do like a meet and greet at one of these little community football games. So, born and raised, knowing what it meant, the significance to the community for the NFL to bring the Panthers into the Charlotte community. Then, so had that experience, went off and was a cheerleader. So, I'm not technically like that dancing background. I'm more of a cheerleading background, bunch of tumbling and stunting. Went to the University of South Carolina down in Columbia, South Carolina, where I cheered all 4 years there competitively. And I think each of us could probably attest to like the sense of family that comes from being in a team atmosphere. So, finished up my 4 years in South Carolina. And I debated back and forth, like, all right, what's the next steps for dance or cheerleading on a professional level, while also trying to build my own professional career on top of that because I thought that that was necessary. So it took me a couple years, but while I was in nursing school at Queen's University in Charlotte, I was encouraged to go try out for the Top Cats. I lucked out and got to cheer 2 seasons, 2014 and 2015. And that was that wave with your Greg Olson, Cam Newton, Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, that season where it was almost undefeated, made it to the Super Bowl. And so I'm just very blessed to have been able to experience those 2 years because, that was very much a sweet spot in what I think is the legacy of the Carolina Panthers. And so, yeah, so that's how I got there. Enjoyed those 2 years, was a nurse, delved into some real estate after that. And now I live in Spain. And I think we'll delve into that later.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. Macy, how about you?
I am from Forest City, North Carolina, which is it's about an hour and 15 minutes away from Charlotte. So I kind of have a not complete opposite of Tiffany, but a little bit different because I grew up dancing and I started dancing when I was 4, almost 5. And I just love to dance still to this day. Like if I can get into a classroom, like I am in class, I am like it is 1000% my passion. Love to dance. So I knew in my life, that's what I wanted to do. Like, I've known that from a young age. So, I grew up at my home studio, which my mom actually owned. So, I've always done that. And then I ended up going to App State University and I did dance team there. I actually only did dance team for 1 year because I decided that I wanted to move to Los Angeles. So, I moved to Los Angeles to further my dance career. I went to Edge Performing Arts Center and I missed home so bad because I am such a family-oriented person. So I came home just because I missed my mom and my dad and all my friends. So after that, I was like, "What am I doing?" Like, I know I wanna pursue the studio and I wanna take it over, which is currently what I do today. But someone, kinda put a bug in my ear about, "Why don't you go cheer?" So I was like, why don't we go try it?" So I went, auditioned, made the team, and it just happened that it was the Super Bowl year, so the year that Tiffany just completely talked about, that was amazing. So I actually only did it that 1 year just because I know it's only an hour and 15 minutes, but between driving back, running the dance studio and everything, it was a lot. So I'm so thankful and honored to have been a part of that year and the fact that I I miss it. Like, I want to go back. I'm still sad that I didn't do that second year, but I also have in my mind that my experience was just so wonderful and so perfect that I constantly do want to miss it. So really, I could have asked for a better time and a better opportunity to have been a top cat.
Yeah, y'all got lucky with that 2015 season. That
We
I look
did.
back and I'm like, wow, been able to cheer during that season when we were winning and the stadiums were full. That had to been incredible.
Yeah.
And also, Macy, LA is far to for
It's
somebody
far.
that left
It's not
home.
far to Spain.
Not as far as Spain. That's true. We're gonna get into that, Tiffany. Not as far as Spain, but LA is far. What was
Yeah.
the biggest culture shock that you had when you were in LA coming from
Honestly, I think it's just because our town is so small and then going into the big city and even going to App State, Appalachian is not a large community either. It's gotten a little bit better since I went, or a little bit bigger since I went. But I think just the sheer fact of going from my apartment to school was I think it was like 15 miles, and sometimes it would take me like an hour and a half to get there just because the traffic was so insane and there were so many people. But it was amazing. Like, I absolutely loved it. And I still have friends that I talk to. I'll go back and visit them. So, like, I'm so happy I did it. Feel like I grew so much in my dance career to be able to give back to the students that I now teach.
Mhm.
So it was 1000% worth it. And I'm glad I had the experience, but I'm also glad to be home.
Yeah. Now, Tiffany, you mentioned being one of the few girls who didn't have a dance background. Can you talk about how you adjusted to the Tap Cats dance style and how and if you did adjust quickly? How was that?
Yeah, so I think, that was definitely one of those barriers that I learned to appreciate once I actually made the team. And it's one of those things where, like, we had such a diverse group of women that came in, be it professional, whatever their athletic abilities were, if they had years of experience in dance or not. And one of the things that I found very comforting is that I thought that our coaches at the time actually valued the fact that I didn't have that dance background. I think there might have been 2 or 3. I know Miss Michaela Byers, she was on the team, she came from more of a cheerleading background as well, and so just knowing that, like, I had to come in and learn those double turns, and that was so terrifying. Like, I can flip over backwards for you every day, but tell me to stand on 1 foot, double turn was like,
In heels.
but I also I appreciated challenge in that.
Mm.
I mean, I think that was one thing that, yeah, each of the girls on the team could attest to is like we all had our strengths and weaknesses. And like we were always willing to help each other. And so at the time, my big, Phillips, she was a ballet background.
Mm.
So like even she had some adjustments between like ballet being on point and all of that. And then to coming in and doing like this like jazzy hip hop oriented field dance that's like very big
Mhm.
and nothing delicate about it because you got to reach up to that 500 level in the stands, the visuality of it all. So I found it almost a blessing because it was kind of a bonding moment for all of us to kind of take our strengths and weaknesses and bond like as a team and knowing like, hey, I'm not gonna hit that double turn with a kick out of it, but who's gonna do that? Shannon's gonna rock that, and then I'm gonna come across the front with that round off back handspring tuck, just for the pizzazz of it. And that's what made our team so special. So it ended up being one of the strengths of my experience on the team, letting me know that I don't have to have it all, but guess what? None of us do. Like none of us have it all. And that's what made us so cohesive is
Yeah.
that we were a team and we all brought something special.
Yeah, that's so awesome. How did you end up honing that turn ability? Was it people on the team that helped you? Did you watch YouTube videos? Is it kind of a combination?
Literally a little bit of everything. YouTube videos, going to a couple teammates, being like, hey, can you just kind of give me the technicality behind this? Because I can learn. And then bringing that to the forefront, going up to our coaches and being like, "Hey, can I just meet you 5 minutes before practice, 5 minutes after practice, just to kinda go over this because I really wanna be able to present my best self, my best version of myself, and represent the team well." And so there was always a helping hand where I needed it. And to be honest, I actually ended up not being able to perform a couple times just because of that struggle, but there was no absence of somebody helping me along the way, and I respected that because, like, we all wanna be able to come in and present the best products and represent the brand the best that we can. And in the end, year 2, so that was my struggle with the first year, was kinda overcoming those barriers, but going into the second year, it actually turned out to be my strength because I could go to our newer girls, our rookies, and be like, "Hey, I had to overcome this. It feels terrible in the moment, but you're supported from 100 different angles from every member of the team, and just know that, like, you gotta sit in that and work your way through it," and that's what we did.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I also love how you mentioned you were able to showcase what your strength really was, which was the tumbling. And
Mhm,
I love that you were able to do that too, because it does show a different range of skills on the team and also showcases what you can do too. So that's amazing.
mhm. Yeah.
So you both mentioned the NFC Championship as being one of the most memorable experiences while you were a Top Cat. What about that game? Take us back to 2015. What about that game was so memorable to
Uh,
you from start to finish? Like, from when you came to the game that day to when you left that night. Tell us about it.
I'll let Macy take this one.
I was like, it was definitely a feeling that you'll never forget. So, like, I remember most pretty much every game. I mean, you remember the rain game, you remember the super hot game, you remember like every detail about or different details about each game. But that specific game, I guess I mainly remember just the stadium, like the not well, the audience, yes, but the crowd. They like, it was electric. Everyone was so pumped. It was like we had already made it to the Super Bowl when we walked onto the field. Like, everybody was so ecstatic and thrilled to be there, and, like, no one I think I put this in my thing, no one left. Like, everyone was there the entire time. You never saw someone leave at 3rd quarter. Like, the energy was just insane. I remember one of my main memories of that was actually a practice, and Rochelle and Shannon had walked in to give us the name of the song that we were gonna dance to, and it was someone from, they were from California. It was the "Don't Stop Believin" song, and so I remember like, they kept it a big secret and then told us what it was gonna be, uh, and learning that dance and getting to perform that dance too. But I had also played getting to perform "Sweet Caroline" at the end, and that it was just to be completely honest, I don't even know that I did the dance correctly that time because we were just all so excited. But it's just a feeling that you can't really describe, and it was felt by everyone in the stadium.
Yeah.
So, very thankful to have experienced it for sure. And the confetti.
The confetti, the
Live the new one,
iconic
confetti.
confetti.
The confetti was killer.
God.
Yeah.
What do you remember, Tiffany?
Yeah. You know what I remember most? So I remember like an anxiety around just wanting to represent something so well. But what really stood out to me is aside from the game, like it was representative, like that situation, been a cheerleader forever, right? So football was like the basis of my experience with the entertainment, like cheerleaders being the accessory to this big, overwhelming thing that is the sport of football. And so to know that my worlds had converged of like, yeah, you have this technicality that is for me cheerleading, but then what it is to love football, like the entire community was in it tooth and nail for weeks, like that entire season. That was like the pinnacle of where you have like this hope of like, it doesn't matter what your differences are in the community. Everyone was rooting for like one thing at that one moment. And to see that we were successful, the seats were filled. I got to dance on a football field where the team was winning, the community was winning at that point in time. And it was kind of like this sprinkle of like hope of like, oh no, we really can do this all together because there's so many moving pieces And that's one thing that I was really appreciative of Top Cats because, like, we had you had the drum line, you had the concessions, like all of us, everybody had this kind of fire and knew what their role was in the team being successful and it representing like the Carolinas at that point in time. And it just made me feel so small, but also knowing that my small piece of what was success that season was so meaningful to not only me, but to somebody. Like it was just, I don't know, it was just like this grand thing
Yeah.
that I can't even really put to words, like, still to this day, I can't even put it to words.
And like you said, it
But
wasn't even just in the stadium, it was outside of it too.
yeah, like and that was the thing. We're all
Come up to you. Yeah.
yeah, and we're all professionals, so, like, even if passing people that didn't know that I was a cheerleader for the Panthers, like, if you would go into a sports bar, like, somebody was talking about the Carolina Panthers, and to know that, like, I was a little sprinkle on that cupcake, you know? Or if I would go into work, all of us would go into work, and every coworker would have a question about how we were preparing for this next step, or have you talked to such and such? Like, have you ever done an appearance with this person? Or like, what does it feel like in the locker rooms? Like, it was literally a piece of every single aspect of our lives for that year.
Wow.
And to be a part of that, that was so cool.
Yeah. And was like, it seems like once you started winning, every game was packed and it was kind of like that from the start
Mhm.
and nobody was leaving at the third quarter. Wow.
Mm-mm.
I guess to
Yeah.
get to that point, to that NFC championship, like it's kind of like you said, Tiffany, it's like a all eyes on you type of feeling. Like
Hmm.
all eyes are on the Carolina Panthers in every aspect, and you are part of it. So you feel like you have this responsibility. And yeah, that just seems like such an exciting thing, but also kind of a lot of pressure too. Sounds like a more exciting than pressure because the football team had
Yeah.
pressure. Y'all got to
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah. Well, it's still a little bit of pressure too. Like we can't underestimate ourselves either. Cause like as a little girl, I still remember those three top cats that came to that random football stadium, for a high school jamboree or whatever it was, And just knowing that like some little girl whose dad forced her to come to this game I might be the piece that stands out for her in this experience. And that meant a lot to me.
Yeah. Do you remember who those, Top Cats were?
Honestly, I don't. I remember this is like being as authentic and genuine. I remember one of them being brown skin, like brown to the brown, and me seeing myself in her. And I remember that being like that having huge significance to me.
Yes, representation does matter. Does.
Yep.
So, both of you talked about this season being full of excitement and just excitement in the city. So, I bet during this season, there were just a ton of moving parts and a ton of eyes on you since we had a winning football team. So, what kinds of fitness routines did you have, and how did you fuel yourself during the season with the proper nutrition?
I'll be real on this one. This was the hardest thing for me in general that entire year. I don't know if Tiffany, if you remember that or anything, but never had I never knew how to eat. I never knew really what to do because I never really had to focus on it in high school because I think I danced so much in the studio. Like I would eat whatever I wanted, didn't matter, go to practice. I danced so much, the amount of calories and workout and everything that I was doing counteracted. Then I went to college, completely different. I didn't dance quite as much. Yes, I majored in dance. Yes, I did this, but it wasn't the same thing. So I struggled very hard with that and then losing it for Top Cats before I auditioned because I did actually I went to a clinic and I was like, okay, I've got to get my fitness in check. So I struggled really hard with that. And it has helped me so much even current life because I had people speaking of Michaela again, Michaela was huge for me. Like she helped me learn how to eat, learn what exercises to do. I had a physical trainer at home that really helped me. So I actually don't stress about it now, which is really nice because I know what to do. So just in long-term learning from Top Cats, it helped me and to be healthy in general too, which is awesome to also show like, yes, dancing is important. Yes, the entertainment aspect is important, but being healthy and being good to your body is also so important.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience because, like, especially as women, too, I think that we can be so hard on ourselves, and it goes back to, like, that pressure of, like, wanting to represent something bigger than us so well that, like, you have to almost it's like 2 battles at the same time. It's like, "Hey, I'm learning to be this best version of myself, but also I want to be make sure I'm loving and taking care of myself." And so that was a big thing because at the time, like, there were a lot of eyes on us, and as women in general, like, those tend to be critical eyes. And so I think our coaches did the best that they could as far as, like, preparing us. It's not normal to be like, in this little crop top with this small little skirt and like dancing around, jumping around in front of people. And to have all these cameras and video cameras and all these eyes on you. So, like, there's a weight to that. And that I think it goes back to like the support of our team too. Like Macy was saying, she leaned into Michaela. And again, a lot of us had those strengths, both strengths and weaknesses, and just played off of each other with like, hey, like, I might be struggling with this, or even like I didn't necessarily have a problem with my physical image, but I'm like, I want to make sure that like I'm doing it right, or where I am doing it right, how do I lead the sister standing beside me to make sure that she's there, feeling the best version of herself too. Like that's how you have fun on the field when you know you look good, you're dancing good, you feel good. Like that's the cream of the crop right there. So we just all had that support for each other. 'Cause we all had our own battles going on outside of what we were doing on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you both were on the team when weigh-ins were kind of a thing, or uniform checks were like, you had those during the season. I want to I'm curious how you what you thought about those first, and then kind of how the team helped support each other during those times, cuz I can imagine some girls are probably taken out of games for not maybe passing their uniform checks or maintaining their weight. And do you have any memories of the support level when it came to that? And then also just what are your thoughts about the weigh-ins?
I'll hit this one. So, my body type. Girl, I done had 2 babies, the six-pack is still sitting pretty, you know? And I think this is where it was a struggle a little bit because we have to appreciate ourselves as women and the diversity, on a daily basis of what our hormones are saying we're going through. And, I will say I did not have that battle so much because, just given my body type, 10 pounds here, 10 pounds there, and I'll still have the same fluctuations. Me and Macy can have the same fluctuations, and it just looks different on her body type versus mine. And that's where, like, you start having those sticky spots because we had weigh ins, they wanted us to stay within a range. I would have the same fluctuations as someone beside me, but it would just look different. It just sat different on me. And that was probably the only bone that I had to pick with that because as women, you can catch me on a Wednesday and I'm looking prim and snatched to the nines. But then on Friday, depending on what's going on in my body and my life, that could look totally different. I know that it was a little bit hard, it's a little bit stringent, but I also know that like there's the other side of the coin. They were trying to make sure that we were presenting our absolute best selves because we were presenting ourselves in like a very raw form to the entirety of the world. So like there's that aspect of it too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's both sides, and I can't knock either one of them because at the end of the day, you're representing, right? So, like, we need it to look good. Were the weigh ins necessary? I would say probably not.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
I
like
completely agree. Like, my body, I have a super long torso, but everything sits in my legs, and it just like you said, it just sits completely different. However, I was able to get away with the uniform lots of times because I have a long torso, whereas the lower half might be way larger than somebody else. But I will honestly say that I don't stand on a scale anymore unless I go to the doctor, because numbers really
Mhm.
don't matter. So I agree with Tiffany in the aspect of the weigh-in specifically. I don't know that it was that beneficial other than just something to add to the test of, "Hey, how's your" but, I do believe that it was also good to keep us in check to a certain extent because it like you said, it's important we're showing ourself to the world, like, let's show that we are healthy and fit, but there's a happy medium, I definitely feel like.
Mm,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I appreciate y'all for sharing your thoughts on that because I think it is a balance you have to strike with the having a standard for the team and then, whether this is necessary or not and whether it's affecting the girls' mental health on the team. And there's definitely that happy medium, I think, that has to be met, and I'm like you, Macy, I don't get on the scale either. I'm like, the numbers don't matter, as long as I
Right.
look and feel good, that's all that matters. If I look good, I'm gonna do good. I'm gonna do good work. I'm gonna do my best performance, and I think that's how it should be, and I think a lot of teams have gotten away or, like, they're done with the weigh-ins and things like that, so I think people are starting to recognize that it's not just about just one body type. Everybody has a different body type.
yeah. Yeah, totally. And then it's also unnecessary too. Like we're supposed to be appealing to the masses, right? Like
Exactly.
everyone has their own preferences. Like, no, like have the whole gamut. Like there should be diversity in like how the team is presented. And honestly, if you want to say the uniform doesn't fit her, the problem is the uniform. it's not
Yeah,
it's not the person wearing it. Like
right.
we have tailors for a reason. So yeah, that's I could stand on a mountain and preach to that one, but I won't. I'll take up all day.
Great point. You made a great point. Yes. Yeah, representation. Representation matters, and it's about being
Yeah,
fit, not skinny. I think that's super important, about being fit,
yeah.
not skinny. Uh,
And can you dance? Like, first of all, does somebody want to watch you? Like, that's the
exactly.
point. Like,
Can
do
you
you
do
move in
the
a
job?
way? Right, that's appealing.
So, in terms of fueling yourselves, how did you go about snacks during auditions and long practice days? What kind of snacks were your go-tos for those days?
I was I was the snack and napper. I would be the one taking a nap in the locker room. So at the time, I was working as a nurse and I worked night shift. And there were a couple situations where I would leave the hospital. This is not healthy practice by any means, but I did what I had to do to have the memories of a lifetime. So I would leave the hospital and then go straight to the stadium, me and my granola bars and cut up strawberries were like my best friend. And then they also did a good job of feeding us once we got there. But I was like the prime one. I'm going to come in, I practice whatever dances I need to for that game day. And I would be in the corner with my strawberries, take a nap for 30 minutes, get up, go down to the practice fields. But we were excellent at snacking. I don't think who was Lindsay Smith, what another girl on our team, she always had a snack. Always had a snack and always had a snack to share. And we just kept fueling each other that way. I've never been like a fan of like the energy drinks or anything, but I know a couple of the girls were good fans of that, big
Yeah.
fans of those.
Wait,
Uh,
you didn't go to sleep before a game, basically?
Listen,
Some days?
Jasmine,
What?
I don't know. I don't know how I survived.
Wow, Tiffany.
It only happened maybe like 2 or 3 times. I remember Shannon, bless Shannon McClatty, coming up to me and be like, "You need to go lay down."
That's dedication right there.
Time we hit the field, the adrenaline, especially during 2015, we were like winning and all that. Like you didn't even feel it. But when I say I crashed, as soon as I got home, I would crash. It was not my most healthy moments, but yeah, it happened a few times.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was watching the DCC Netflix show and they were talking about how
Mhm.
like you just go, go, go and you have all this adrenaline. You don't realize how much you're doing, but it's so fun.
Mhm.
You don't want to miss out, especially during a season like y'all had. You don't want to miss out on anything. So it's like, I'm going to do whatever I
Mhm.
have to do to push through. And you can do that when you're in your 20s and early 30s or however. I don't even know how old y'all are, but y'all look like you're in your 20s. But Yeah, you can do that when you're that young and you're just vibrant and you wanna do everything. So, you look
Yeah.
back and you're like, "How did I even do that?" So, yeah, it's incredible. What about you, Macey?
Yeah.
What kind of snacks do you have?
So, sleeping wise, I got really lucky because we practiced on Wednesdays and I did not teach on Wednesday. So, I actually was complete opposite of Tiffany again and I slept in. So, I had the good end of the deal on that one. I was a big I'm still a big Kind Bar person. I would always have a Kind Bar, always the chocolate peanut butter or the caramel, sea salt, blah, blah, blah. So, if it's a Kind Bar, I'm eating it. And I'm also the same with the energy drinks. I was never like a big energy drink person. I actually was not a coffee person either. However, when I started TopCats, I became a coffee drinker and I still am to this day. Turned me on to coffee. Leslie, a few of them would call me and say, grab us a coffee on the way because I had to drive in. And so eventually I would just grab myself a coffee too. So it turned me into a coffee drinker. But I lots of water, lots of, like you said, protein granola bars was my go-tos.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the big jugs. I remember my big gifted me one of those massive jug water bottles, and we
Where it
would
says,
fill it.
like, "Start here, you can keep going." Yeah, I love
They gift
those.
I got that
Yep.
in one of the practices I had a they gifted me that.
That's a great pick. In your opinion, what was the hardest part of the audition process? And what can you tell hopefuls to prepare themselves for that part of auditions?
Oof. That's a good one.
For me, I think it was the length of it because it was like a month, I think, right? It was long.
Yeah. Yeah. It started like mid-March for us and then went into the end of April. Yeah. It
Like,
might
I
have been a
think
little bit longer than a month, especially if you're doing some of like the boot camps beforehand.
right, if you do the clinics and then you have the audition, then you have the interview, and then you have another audition. So it was and they were like, the days were kinda mixed in, like, we might have a Tuesday, you might have a Saturday, you may like, they were it just I just remember it being long. I don't remember it being like, yes, of course, I mean, any audition is gonna be stressful, but I feel like I know we keep talking about, like, the support, but, it really existed. Everybody supported everybody, even in the audition process. Like, you would go in and you would talk with your friends who were also auditioning with you. You would go and you would practice together. I remember us texting each other and saying, "Hey, you wanna come run this dance before we go to auditions?" So, like, we would meet up somewhere else and practice before we go in. So, I don't really remember that part being super straining other than that you just needed to know your dance, and it was just the fact that, "Okay, I've decided in my mind I'm auditioning." And I'm gonna wait this entire month and a half to find out if I make it. And
Yeah.
in the email, I remember scrolling through
Right.
the
Via
email,
email,
"Oh my gosh, where's my name? Where's
hitting
my"
refresh.
Yes.
How can what advice would you give hopefuls to prepare for the length of audition? I'm not sure exactly how long it is now, but it's still a lot on you mentally and physically.
I think that so I went into Top Cats, and I know this is like a hard mentality I feel like to have, but I went in not expecting anything. Like, I think if you go in, like, just knowing that you may be devastated if you get a no, then it makes it that much harder, but, like, if you go in knowing which at this time I was 21 years old, I think I was the youngest one, that I was like, "I have all these years I can do this." Like, Jennifer was 41. Make the team this first year, I'll do it again the next year. So I think just not having the expectation of I'm going to make this is sometimes the easiest way to deal with it, in my opinion. I know everyone's opinion would be different, but knowing that, okay, I'm not going to be upset if I don't make this, then it's hard to be upset. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest things for me is just going in with like this like imposter syndrome. Cause like you have, and the first day of tryouts, I remember my first one, they kind of parade in the alum, like the experienced vets, and you're like, "Oh, could I be one of those? And so my biggest battle was kind of like the mental aspect of it. And like, no, like I belong here. And even if I don't, like letting that guard down so you can actually enjoy the process. I am still like the closest of girlfriends with some of the girls that I met that first day of auditions, regardless if they made the team or not. And it's just like going through the process of doing something that is so unconventional. Like, it's not normal to be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go and try out for the NFL cheerleading team." Like, that's not normal. So, like, there's a level of, adventure and setting aside fear to that, and you're surrounded by those people. So just go in, enjoy the process, and realize that you're doing something that is very brave, for the average person, and, like, sitting in that, because it's very rewarding regardless if you make the team or not. And that's one thing I can say, like, with DCC and their Netflix special, it's like you kinda get to see that a little bit. You get to see them go home and know that they're practicing with their girls off to the side, or you get to see the coffee trips that they make before they're going into audition. And those are friendships and like a sisterhood that develop regardless of if you're on that final roster or not.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what happens outside of the auditions and the relationships and friendships that you make along the way for sure.
Yeah.
Need that definitely to get through this process.
Mhm.
So I want to dive into kind of what you all are up to now. So Macy, have you always wanted to open a dance or not, you didn't open a dance studio, you took it over from your mom, right?
Yes,
Okay.
so she actually it's kinda funny, she was a softball player, like, she coached softball, she doesn't dance at all, and I don't really know the whole story, but I know she said I don't, of course, remember this, but she said the girls at daycare would get ready for ballet class, and then I came home every day from daycare when they would get ready and cry until she took me to dance. And she said, "When you go to kindergarten, you can go to dance class," and it just spiraled from there, and she ended up with a dance studio, and so I kinda just always knew, hey, I would take this over. Like Dreamweavers has always been my home and continues to be my home. And my goal is to, like I said previously, I love dance. Like I genuinely love it. And I want other kids to feel that way. I mean, I know not everyone's going to have the exact same passion as me, but if I can share that with the next generation and help them improve. And I always say my goal as a dance teacher is for them to be 10 times better than I ever was. So if I can bring in the resources, and bring in other teachers too and give them everything that they need to be able to succeed, to be able to become a top cat or go on Broadway or move to LA and stay there. I want them to all be able to do that. So we just relocated like a mile down the road, but we almost tripled our building space. So we moved on Main Street. So I've had a dream to move on Main Street for probably 5, 6 years now. So we did that this past April. We have the new studio and it is going super well. And I'm very thankful. I feel very blessed. I walk in sometimes and when it's quiet, because sometimes, a studio is loud. So I'll walk in, I'll just take a breath and remember how thankful I am, even whenever it does get a little chaotic. So, but that's where I am dance wise. Um,
I love that. The fact that your mom wasn't a dancer, I'm like, I wanna talk to your mom about that. That sounds, like,
I
incredible.
The thing that I've told other people too is what's I think made the studio so successful is that she wasn't a dancer. And she taught me so much on the business aspect and from a different point of view from being in this like actual classroom teaching. She's taught me so much on the other side of it. And she's like so creative. She paints and she'll do our props and she's like the float queen. Like all of those things. So I've learned all of that like creativity side from her and the business aspect that I feel like because we have 2 different outlooks, it's come together and made it that much stronger.
So you did it well, I guess your mom did it mostly because of what she saw at the daycare of the girls getting ready for dance and
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I don't really know how I guess you could tell from a very young age that I was ready to dance.
Yeah.
She, she's always very community involved and very, ready to help anyone in the community too, so when she saw the need for the studio, she went for it.
Your mom's not that involved right now, or is she still doing?
Not really anymore. She's kinda taken a step back. She's letting me handle it. She'll come in every now and then and help out, like, if it's costume pass out week, she might help pass costumes out. She always comes to competitions still to support everyone. So but she is happily not doing as much now.
She's like, "I gave my time. It's time for you to take it over."
Retired, like, yeah, she'll never fully be retired because I don't know if I'll ever let her be, but she enjoys her time with her grandchildren, and that helps.
Yeah, that's awesome. Best of luck to the continued luck and success for the studio.
Oh, thank you.
Tiffany, you mentioned earlier that you're in Spain now. So, why
Mhm.
did you and your family decide to pick up and move to Spain? And we wanna know how it is there and what the culture shock was like for you and your kids.
Yeah, so dance for the TopCats, and while I was there, I was a nurse, and then ended up working at Levine's Children's Hospital right there in Charlotte. And so I worked my way from being a nurse to going into an administrative supervisor, house supervisor for the pediatric hospital. And along that route, I bought my first house, and it was in West Charlotte. It's a little neighborhood called Enderley Park, and it was a full renovation. And it was just one of those like heartfelt dream things. I was like, oh, I want to be HGTV. Let me go in and renovate this house. And it kind of like sparked a little obsession for me as far as real estate investment, renovation, interior design, things of that nature. And so that kind of pulled me like, yeah, I loved nursing and everything that it was to be a nurse. But then I kind of had this little side hobby where I was going in, dabbling in real estate. So ended up meeting my husband, and he also loved real estate as well, owned his house, had the mindset to do rentals, things of that nature. And so I was like, you know what? Well, at this point, one of us needs to have our license. So went ahead, got my real estate license, and was doing both, like the nursing and the real estate. But another passion that me and my husband shared was traveling. So I swear it was probably like our first little trip we did together. We're driving down to Hilton Head Island, and it's like what, a 3 hour, 4 hour drive from Charlotte. And one of the questions was like, what's something if you 10 years from now look back and you don't accomplish, what's something that you think you would regret? And so it came up with living abroad. And I was fortunate enough. So whenever I decided to go into real estate, I joined a brand at Sotheby's International Realty. So they have these offices all over the place. And we knew we wanted to live abroad. But then, so this conversation is happening around like 2019. 2020, we had this plan to go live in Costa Rica. So we were going to go for like 3 or 4 months and kind of hop between Costa Rica and Nicaragua to kind of get that move abroad experience before children, before marriage, all of that. And we had it all booked. We were supposed to leave in April 2020. And the world shut down in March of 2020. And then we got engaged and pregnant. So, like, there went that. Kind of out the window. But while we were there, we were like, acquiring properties through real estate, all of that. That kind of kept that going. I was here with this amazing international brand. So once our daughters got a little bit older, they're 3 and 5, going on 5 now. We were like, well, either we decide to make that move, that hop, and we use real estate to kind of like project us toward that direction, or we're going to be the usual, we'll wait to retirement and then we'll get to have that experience. And we decided, well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and pull the trigger. And so, in our research, the brand that I'm with, Sotheby's, opened an office in right up the street from the area that we were already looking at for relocation. And I was like, well, if this isn't the universe telling us that we just need to go ahead and make this move for ourselves. So ended up moving to Spain just to have kind of a different experience. We had looked at Portugal a little bit, did a whole family vacation there, and then just to kind of decided, and this is probably just from our own experience, but we just had more exposure to Spanish. So we knew we wanted to go to a Spanish speaking country. We needed a modern infrastructure. Um, and so we landed on Spain, and then we knew we wanted the beach. So we knew we landed on the coast of Spain. We knew we wanted as much sunlight as possible, so the southern coast of Spain. And here we are, and it's been really good. a very rewarding experience for us and our kids too. It's just different. And the world is so accessible now, and we look, at the history of it all. Like this is the most accessible it's been. So just encourage people to kind of step out of their comfort level and experience new things. Like step out of your comfort level. Go to that tryout. You might not feel like you fit there, but just try it. Buy that plane ticket, and it's one way. You'll just kind of figure it out. But I think you always find the place that you're meant to be. And right now, this is where I'm meant to be, and we're loving it. I had a Spanish class and made a friend there. She's from Sweden. And Friday afternoon, she sends me a text message. She's like, "Hey, we just have a group going down to the beach, going to one of the restaurants. Come meet us." We're like, "Sure, we'll show up." And Saturday, we roll up, us and our kids in tow and the dog. And we go to the beach, and it's a table of like 20 people. No one knew anybody.
Mm,
We're all immigrants from all over the place. I think there was like 6 countries represented at the table. We had Iceland, the UK, we had Sweden, Ireland, people from all over just trying to explore this beautiful, brief life that we have.
yeah.
And that was why we decided to make the hop, to just see if we could experience something different. And so, yeah, it's been lovely. We've been here for 6 months now.
6 months. Okay, I was just about to ask how long it's been. That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
did you have to become a Spanish citizen?
So, not really a citizenship, but there is like a whole visa process where you have to come in and just have the government acknowledge that you're living here for an extended period of time. So, there's a whole process to that. You have to come in, you have to find the right visa for you that fits your family. And on top of the visa, then you have to claim residency. And then Spain is known for like their tax system. So they do tax at a little bit of a higher rate than what we're used to in the States. But then once you weigh the benefits to how that plays for your family and aside from your family, the community that it supports, we had to kind of swallow that a little bit, but I still think it's worth it. And yeah, so there's a lot of paperwork that has to go into it, but we're very glad that we did it. The girls are thriving. We have them in an international school at the moment, and they love it. It's a lot of sunshine. Unnormal to Spain, and every local will tell you we've had like 2 months of rain since like December, which is abnormal for the region. But the sun came out last week, week before last. And when I say like the entire city came out, everybody is out. The entire region is out. But it's been really, really good.
That's amazing. You're inspiring me to just move abroad whenever that happens.
Yeah, in the process, we've been like kind of snooping. I don't if you good old Meta and Facebook, but we've just been snooping on a bunch of expat immigrant groups. And I think like the statistics now, like 40% of your American citizens would entertain the idea of moving abroad and experiencing something different. It's just the know how, right? And taking those first steps of trying to figure out how to make it a reality for yourself. And, I mean, that's a hard step to take. The hardest step is being like, all right, whatever the barrier is, we're going to do it. And just deciding that you're going to take those steps to steps. You've got to figure out how you're going to make money, but you also have to figure out the why. Like, why are you drawn to doing something different?
Mhm.
And I think that story is going to be different depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah, and props to you because you have 2 small children, and I feel like some if I don't have children, but I imagine that it's probably not easy to take your whole family up from the US and move to a totally different country and different culture, different laws, and, everything is different, language, so props to
Mhm.
you for doing that, and it's showing that it can be done, and it's not impossible. You can do everything before you have kids, but once you have kids, that doesn't mean your life stops, so
No, it doesn't.
a great example.
And isn't that what we want to teach our little girls too? Like,
Mhm.
that's one of my things is like, I want my girls to grow up knowing Macy, girl mom too, like, I want them knowing that, like, nobody gets to define the box that they sit in. Like, that's only for them to define. And, if you're not happy in a place, there's nothing keeping you there but yourself. And I want them to be empowered with that, that they, the world is their oyster. Whatever they want to make of it, they make of it. And they just have to believe in themselves and be confident in knowing, like, even on our journey, this is like a testament to life. Even walking into the TopCat trials, like, I didn't, that outcome is out of my control. You know, I walk in, I go to auditions. Yeah, I'm trying really hard, but like, am I what they're looking for? I think that's like a testament to life, right? Like, there's so many things that are out of our control. Like, we have to have the audacity, right? You have to have the audacity to just step aside and be like, you know what? Yeah, I don't know the answers, but I'm still going to take the jump. And so
Absolutely.
that's what we want them to know. If the worst comes to worst, pack my little suitcase, put my little terrier in his bag, and grab their hands, and we're gonna be on a flight back to North Carolina.
There's always another option. Like, your life
There's
will
always another
yeah,
option.
your life will take you in the direction that it needs to go, and you have to trust that. It's
Mhm.
hard
Yeah,
sometimes when you don't get the outcome that you want, but it'll
yeah.
all work out in the end. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
such a great lesson. So, speaking on that, I wanna know from both of you, this is actually a question that came from my audience. I was like, "I'm having former Top Cats on my podcast out, and what kind of questions should I ask them?" And this question came from somebody, and they asked, "What kept you motivated when you felt low motivation or none at all?" And you can answer that from, they're going through the Top Cats process, and even now, like, is there a certain person in your life, podcast that you listen to, affirmations? What kind of things keep you motivated?
Kinda feel like your motivation changes as your life changes. Whereas, like, now, obviously, like, Charlotte, my 3-year-old, and then the one I'm about to have, whatever her name may be, they are gonna 1000% motivate me. Whereas whenever I was younger, I've always had a sense of, like, goals, like, I'm gonna set this goal for myself, and I'm gonna reach this goal. So, like, I feel like where you are in life definitely determines what motivates you, and I would say from now on, my main motivation will be my kids, and that I'm successful for them and that I set them up kind of like you said, Tiffany, in the best way possible and that they know that they can do anything just as I guess my mom has always inspired me because she has always said, you can do whatever you want to. And I know I've mentioned her several times, but I have learned that throughout my life and to have confidence, even if, like you said, the outcome is not exactly what you want, it's just what's not the best spot for your life right now, that you can do whatever you wanna do and be what you wanna be, and you can inspire other people to do the same. And, I'm always want my girls to know that too, and that nothing can stop them. So, go for it. Take the chance always.
Yes, we got some future junior Top Cats and maybe Top Cat, your girls. So, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And that they can do anything too. That's one thing I feel like I don't know if you've it kind of been done anything the same way, Tiffany, with yours, but I want them to make their own decisions too. Like, I want Charlotte right now, she obviously dances 24/7 because she's at the studio with me. Like, she sometimes gets mad at me because I can't play her song because it's other people's time. Like, "It is not your turn yet." Like, we've had some meltdowns because we cannot play a song in her improv. But I also like, we're gonna try soccer, we're gonna try T-ball, and who knows, she might be like Ben and say, "Forget that." But I want them to know too that they can make their own choices too. That they don't have to follow exactly like in my footsteps or even what their dad does, like, they don't have to do that, like, they can decide for themselves what they want and, what feels good to their life too.
Absolutely. Tiffany, what
Yeah.
about you? What keeps you motivated?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be very similar with Macy and like echo the same thing. I had motivation, right? So I had motivation. Motivation was very different from my 20s, like my early 20s to like my late 20s. Even when you're having around the conversation of like if you want to start a family and like having to delve into that and what that means, your early 20s, like, well, what kind of career do I want? Because that's going to kind of change the trajectory and my motivation for how I move on a daily basis. So, yeah, and being a being a pediatric nurse, I realized that, like, my motivation changed. Like, I always had this passion for caring for others, but even how I cared for others, my motivation in caring for others changed once I had my own children. Like, there was a difference even in that, and I didn't, nothing from my day-to-day changed as far as, like, my work, but how I empathize with, the mother that's having a breakdown. Like, she hasn't slept in 48 hours. She's worth a breakdown, and I don't take it personal because I know what that feels like now. And then, yeah, having kids, that definitely changed it. Having a husband, like, even taking on another life and knowing that, like, we're partners in life, like, that changed my motivation to a different aspect too, because, like, I wanna see both of us succeed, and there's gonna be a give and take to that on a daily basis. And right now, my motivation, like, I'm refinding myself with the relocation too. So my motivation, like, yeah, I'm really focused on my girls and making sure they're cared for and comfortable and have the best of their ability. But also, like, I don't want to sell myself short too. Like, I am still my own individual. So I want to have, like, my milestones, my goals for myself. I've been trying to get to the gym 4 days in 1 week for about a month now. I have not reached that goal, but I am going to reach that goal
Yes, it's
while I'm here. Just little things like that. So yeah, it's just a day to day and it changes. And I think it's meant to change. That's what makes us human.
absolutely, like Macy said, I'm sure it changes over time as you get older and more mature and wiser. So thank y'all
Hmm.
for sharing that. My last question I always ask on my podcast is the title of my podcast, Imperfect Cheerleader. So I want to know from both of you, what makes you imperfect?
Imperfect?
Mhm.
Jasmine, I'm perfect.
What? Are you even real?
One that couldn't do double turns.
Do it right now. No, I'm kidding.
No, what makes you imperfect is, what makes you imperfect is just like living life and knowing that, like, everybody's struggle is going to be something different. And, like, that makes you imperfect. It makes you imperfect that, you didn't drink enough water that day, and so that's why at that hot game, you were on the you were about to pass out while everybody's yelling at you, or, um, I think perfection is found in imperfection, and I don't think that people should our goal should never be perfection. Maybe that's me being, like, crazy optimistic, I don't know. But, yeah, I don't think the goal should ever be to be perfect. Because then what do you learn?
Right.
Agree. I feel like there's comfort too in knowing that no one is perfect.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that you're not alone, like, when you do make a mistake or whenever like, this even the simple things in life that they're never things are not gonna fall perfect, just like your plan for your entire future is not gonna go exactly as you planned. Like, this may not be exactly what I planned 10 minutes from now, you know?
Mhm.
So it's nice to know that you can give grace and be given grace for not being perfect too.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes.
Give yourself that room.
Yeah. Perfect is just it's boring. You don't have any stories to tell, you know?
Right.
Don't have anything to learn.
And who wants that?
Nobody wants that. Yeah. Nobody. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming on the podcast. We're gonna definitely do some rapid fire right now before we wrap it up for sure.
Nice.
It's just really quick. Whatever comes to your mind, you spit it out. All right. Okay, so the first one is what was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Oh, goodness. I would say okay, so my favorite part of every game was the national anthem. I know that sounds so strange, but, like, standing on the sidelines and standing and everybody's quiet. There's not a sound in other well, of course, the national anthem, but, like, it's just calm, it's peaceful, and it is like, "I am here." Like, I am legit in this, and it was just like I don't know, it's like a peace comes over you of just silence almost, minus, of course, the singing.
Yeah, take a deep breath before
Yes,
everything starts to happen.
yes, before the chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mine basically the same, but mine is just a little bit before that. Like when we would line up in the tunnel And it was kinda like this little like, going back to, like, everybody had their strengths and weaknesses, like, I could always count on somebody beside me, be like, "Hey, girl, you got this. Remember you were struggling with this week, but I got you. Imma say this while we're in this formation so you know that you're supported," you know? And just knowing that, yeah, the NFL is this really big thing, but we had this really tight, like, intimate sisterhood that it would change if there was one different person on the team from that year, so that was it. Knowing that, yeah, you're going in and doing this really big thing, but you had support while you were doing it.
Yeah, it's interesting that both of you said your favorite or your welcome to the NFL moment was like moments where you weren't really dancing either. It's
Mhm.
the small moments, the ones that you're standing for the
When you
national
can actually
anthem.
think,
You can
because when you're
actually
dancing, sometimes you can't think. You
yeah,
think about
right.
your dance
I know, it's adrenaline,
Yeah.
right?
or what clown you're doing or what kitty you're doing, like
I think too, one of the things that I thought was underestimated that I came to appreciate later is like, throughout our practices and time at the stadium, we met so many people that had so many important roles that had nothing to do with the actual game. Like getting to know the DJ and knowing that he was stressed out about getting people on their feet at this moment in time, what song he was going to play, what was approved, knowing that like the people that were running the concession stands were there hours before because they had so many tasks to get set up. Like there's so many moving parts to make that one experience cohesive and meaningful to a lot of people. And we were all playing our part in it. Like that's, I think that's what surprised me the most.
That's interesting. I never thought about everybody has their nerves in whatever they're doing. Like that's
Mhm.
so true. And it's not that makes you feel a little bit smaller and your nervous system kind of is like the same as everybody else's. And you're not alone, you know? Okay, so what is the hardest dance routine you ever had to learn while you were a top cat? Do you remember?
So hard.
actually, I was gonna say, "Let's get loud" because I feel like it was very technical, like, there was a lot of kicks, a lot of leaps, like, I don't remember the choreography at all, but I just remember being like, "Let's get loud," and doing kicks, and I was like but post-game was hard for me because we never learned it, like, we had to learn it
Yeah.
on video, and I should have learned it a little bit better.
Let's Get Loud was a hard one.
Seriously.
Let me say, we had my second year. Macy, this was your tryout year too. Your starter
Yeah.
was our tryout dance that ended up being like showcased as like our introductory dance for the season. Like, I still to this day don't really know what the moves were. I just know I was going like this. We were crossing, we had the lines crossing and like weaving through each other. It was such a fun dance. It was one that I appreciated because we had the ability to stress over it during tryouts. So
Mm,
like we all had it perfected by the time it made it to the field, but it was such a hard dance just because it was so fast.
there's
I
always
forgot
one of
about that,
those.
but you're so right.
Yeah.
What was your most unforgettable moment in the locker room?
Nelly came to see us.
Wow.
And I remember being absolutely obsessed with him because I am a millennial and was coming through high school when he was like at his peak of entertainment. And he walked into the locker room. It was the 2015 season. He was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm here at the game. I just wanted to see the girls." And I remember being like, "It's Nelly. He came to see us."
Love that.
I always liked our circles. I feel like we would get in circles and talk about what was like, I can't remember the exact question each time, but it was just like what was going on in life. So that was something that kinda stood out because I think that was the beginning of practice. Normally, we'd sit in a circle, or we'd do
Hmm.
our warm up. I can't remember the exact order, but I always remember sitting in a circle and sharing what,
Yeah.
was
And Ralph.
and Ralph, yes, and Ralph.
Yeah, we had Ralph the rat.
Good old Ralph.
I think he's actually a trophy now. Like, I think they made him into an actual
Yeah,
trophy.
needs a trophy.
I think ours was a rat. Like, ours was actual. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like a squishy, like, almost like a dog toy.
Yes.
What was your funniest behind the scenes memory of somebody on the team or just something that just you talk about every time you get together with your Top Cat sisters? You're like, "What? That happened?"
This one mine's not really I don't know if it's funny. So It was honestly my favorite appearance that we ever did, and I can't even remember who all was there. It was like 5 of us. So I was actually dress shopping in Charlotte, and I was not signed up for the appearance at all, and I had did a Snapchat or something, so someone knew I was in Charlotte, and one of the girls had gotten sick that was supposed to do it. So they called and they were like, "Macy, get over here. We're short a girl." So I ran to the locker room and everyone was throwing stuff. Like I got like undergarments from someone. I had like uniform from this person, boots from this person, and it was just like this whole like, "Here, throw this on," and we ran out there and did it, and it's one of my favorite memories just because I think it was so, like, spontaneous and ended up being my favorite appearance because it was the appearance before Super Bowl, the week before we went, so, like, it was insane. So, I felt bad, of course, because I wasn't even supposed to be there, like, whoever was supposed to be there, I hate that she missed it, but I was very thankful that I did get to experience it.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
When I can't think of, like, a single, like, one person thing that I remember the most, but collectively, what I remember, so we did family day where we could have, like, our parents and siblings come in, and I remember, like, at the time, we had a couple girls on the team that already had children, and I think it's more like my nostalgia in the current, but to see how they just looked at their moms in awe, because like, these women were working. I thought I was tired. They were working, they were coming to practice, and then, like, parenting whenever they got home, and so we've been able, like, as a team to kinda watch them grow up over the years, and I remember just being like, "Oh, those kids are gonna remember that their mom did that." Like, I have my 2 little girls, but they're never gonna actually, like, physically witness, that I did that, and they actually got to see it and be junior TopCats and all the things, so that was always a strong memory. Um,
Yeah, I love that. What surprised you the most about being a top cat?
it was hard. It was, like so many people try to denounce cheerleading to like, oh, you're sitting on the sidelines and you gotta look cute. We had this little toe pop thing with your leg. We just pop out to the side. Like, I couldn't describe the cramps.
Mm.
If you did not have your Gatorade on that break, you were gonna have a cramp in your calf for an entire quarter of a football game. And I just think that, just the undervalue of, like, how physically exhausting it actually was to stand out there and keep a smile on your face when your leg is cramping and you're sweating
And you've
and
al
you didn't sleep the night before.
I remember, I think Fitbits were in, but they weren't Apple Watches at that time, it was like Fitbit, and I had a Fitbit, and I remember I would look at my calories, like, that I had burned before it would be, like, 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., and it would already be, like, an entire day and a half worth of calories that were burned on my Fitbit. Plus, we still had a whole game to go. I'll chow down after that. I remember my most like, I could not wait to eat everything in sight after the game. I ate dessert and all the things because I was like, "I burned this
Yeah.
many calories, and I did this and this and this and this today."
Yes.
It was a great meal.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite part is the after game meal. Threw down.
Yes.
What was your favorite community appearance or charity event? Macy, I know you talked about your
I was I already cheated on mine.
yeah.
But that was definitely mine. It was insane. There were several of the players were there too. Benny, the DJ who Tiffany had talked about earlier, he did an awesome job with it. It was actually what's it called? Is the park Bearden Park? Is that what it's called?
Romare Bearded?
Romare Bearden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right there at the park, and they had set up a stage, and it was televised, and everybody was hype, like level 500 hype. It was wonderful.
So fun.
My favorite appearance I did, it was a small appearance at one of the local elementary schools, and so it was me and Whitley Cook. I remember who I went with. Me and Whitley and Luke Kuechly went on that one with us, and I remember just walking in, and they have all of these little kids sitting around, like 8, 7, 6 years old, just sitting in this, like, what was their cafeteria, but they had moved all the tables out. And we walk in and they just start cheering, all of these things. And the memory that stuck out, Luke Kuechly turned around and saw that one of the little boys in the front, his shoe was untied. He goes and like ties his little boy's shoe. It was just a very humanizing moment for my experience of like, oh, they look up to us, but also him showing, oh, we're human and, we care for those around us too. So I'll have to say that because it was so small. It was just the three of us in this school with these little cute little kiddos.
Oh, that's Luke Kuechly. And the last thing is, what is one piece of advice for future Top Cats?
I mean, I know it's cliche, but to take every moment that you possibly can in for sure, because you will miss it and you want to remember it. Like take the time to be like, okay, I know I did. Like, this is a moment that I want to remember. Like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna think about it, and I'm gonna like take a picture of it in my mind because I want to in 20 years be like, okay, this is what happened and this is how it felt. Like, think about how you felt during everything, so that way in 20 years you can look back and truly remember it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's a great one. Yeah, just live the moment and like kind of what we said, all right, just give yourself grace and take it all in and just don't be too hard on yourself. Like the point of it all is to go in and enjoy it. And I think we tend to go in and be overcritical of ourselves and don't let fear run your life. Just go in and try to find like the silver lining in everything that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. Thank you both so much for coming onto the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast and being part of the Eras series for the Top Cats. This was amazing, and I love your stories and the excitement that you're bringing to this series. So, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Jasmine.
It's fun. Enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Taking the time to listen while you're busy with all of life's responsibilities means the world to me. If you enjoyed this episode, here are a few ways you can support ICP. Number 1, hit the subscribe button so you always get newly released episodes and never miss them. Number 2, take a screenshot of the episode you listened to and tag at the professional cheerleader on Instagram. I love to repost your tags and shout you out on stories. And number 3, write a review on Apple Podcasts. This is the best way to show your support for the podcast and helps bring us even more guests, interviews, and topics. I hope you have a wonderful day and continue to work towards your goals of becoming a professional cheerleader, dancer, or someone who just loves to move, honey. I'll see you next time on another episode of the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Bye for now.